Okay, let's get started. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, good. So just to reflect back on what we were been talking for last 2 3 weeks is about the business models. Any questions on the business model? Because I would be concluding this today, and then we would get into other areas. We would be coming back to business models again and again because it's so important in many ways, right? If you are a business owner, or if you are an investor, or if you are a self-employed or an employee, you should have an overview of the business model. So we would be coming back to business models time to time again in the future when we are analyzing the businesses. But in general, any questions, anything you want to ask before we get started? Did you reflected or did you started analyzing, understanding any of the businesses that you see? I think this is the new tool you learned when you see Netto, or when you go out and see any businesses. You should always think through this business model framework, because now you know the tool, right? You should always understand, okay, who are the customers for this business, and what are the revenue streams of this business, what are the channels through which this business is acquiring customers, how they are maintaining the customer relationship, and what is the value proposition this business is giving, and what would be the costs of this business. I guess this is very important way of using this tool again and again on daily basis. When maybe you have a favorite brand, you may have a favorite movie production, you may have a favorite service that you are using of any business. You should always ask a question: okay, what is the business model of this service or the business I'm using? How these guys are so good, what they are doing, and what is their way of making money. So I would suggest you to do this again and again on daily basis. So don't park this business model as a tool that you learned on one of the Sunday session. Don't just forget about them, forget about it. Use it again and again, like how you use pencil, pen every day in your school writing. This is also one tool you should use to analyze the businesses. And if you want to share any of the business models that you have seen, we can do this in these sessions. I'm really looking forward if any of you present the kids here of any of the business models that you have seen and which you felt is interesting. That's also fine with me. So you use it for fun, and have fun with this tool. This is a tool you would be using almost your entire life, uh, if you want to become a business owner, investor, or self-employed or employee. So this is one of the practical tool. Okay, so let me go back. I want to show you three business models, and then I want to explain you the scalability concept of the business model, so you understand. Um, uh, how do I do this? Just yeah. Can you see my screen? No.
No.
Let's let's have a little bit fun about the business models, right? So I'm going to talk about three businesses today, and we will see how those business models are evolved, just to give you the concept of scalability. So how businesses can scale. Do you understand when I say scalability? Is this term new for you, or do you know what is scalability? It's like a scaling of something. Any So in a simple term, scalability is like when you go to Google Map, you can do this. You can zoom out, right? You can scale to the maximum street view, as well as you can also see the world map. So it's just from the small to the big. That's a simple scalability. Is something, a business model is a scalable. Uh, to grow drastically. So let's understand this term by looking at three business models. So here I have HDFC Bank. I think we talked about HDFC Bank when we were talking about different shares. And here,
Yeah.
this is a hospital company. Anybody from Tamil Nadu here? This is based out of Coimbatore in Tamil Nadu. So this is Koveri Hospital. And then the other business I want to talk about is um, Google. So let's look at these three businesses. So the business model, right? Framework. So let's drill down and I'll give you the perspective of. I'll tell you the stories. You already know the story of Google. We talked about it, and HDFC. I would briefly give you the story, and then Koveri Hospital. I'll also give you a brief story before we go into the scalability. So HDFC Bank started in 1994. They 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 started in 1994. Officially launched in 1995. Okay. So for 1995, they made a profit of 20 million Danish krone. I'm converting it to DKK because maybe it's easy for you to understand. So this is a profit they made in 1995-96. That's a financial year. Okay. So at same time, mm, the doctor, the founder who started Poveri hos- hospitals. He started in 1986, but let's not go to 1986. Let's say in 1994, 95, because I want to compare these two businesses. So I'm taking 1995. So during 1995, they made 2 million DKK profit. Do you remember what was Google doing in 1995? Google was in Stanford. It was not even um, started. So 1995, there were in the Google founders were still students. They were working on this Google search algorithm at university. So they even not born by this time. Google was not even started. Okay. So let's look from 1995. Let's do the 2020. Okay. So let's look at HDFC first. HDFC Bank. HDFC Bank in 1995, they had 2 million, and now they have 30,000 million DKK as a profit in 2020. You're with me still? Do you follow me?
Yeah.
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 So HDFC Bank, when in 1995, they made a profit of uh, 20 million, 20 crores in Indian rupees. In 2020, they made a profit of 30,000 million. How many billion this is in DKK? It's 30 billion
30 billion.
in DKK terms. Okay. Now let's look at our hospital. So Koveri Hospital, how much profit they made in 1995? They made 2
2
million.
million.
Yeah. So that's equal to 2 CR, 2 crores profit. And the last year, 2020, they made profit of 200 million. How much is 200 million? It's a 0.2 billion.
Billion. 2 billion.
No, it's 0.2 billion. Yeah. Okay. Now let's look at Google.
Yeah,
Google. Yeah.
2 million is how come it's 2 crore? It's 2 million is just 20 lakhs, right?
No. In DKK, it's 10 times. One DKK is 10 rupees.
Oh, okay. So in 2 crores
Yeah.
INR, you are saying?
Yeah. This is DKK. This is INR.
Okay.
So, so this is also DKK. So, and this is also, you can also use DKK and DKK. So let's look at Google. It's not fair for Google. They have not even started in 1995. Let's look at from 2000. Okay. So 2000, they were making 200 million. This is USD. Remember, this is USD. This is USD. So you need to multiply with 6.5 to get DKK. So they were already making 1.2 billion DKK, roughly, profit in 2000. And last time when we look at the annual report 3-4 weeks ago, how much you saw? I remember seeing 2020 they made 90 billion.
Yeah.
This is USD, guys. So if it is USD, then you have to do 6.5.
That's way more.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
too much.
So how much is in DKK? Can somebody do what is 9 times 6?
54.
54.
So 540
Billion.
billion DKK. Okay. So these three businesses, just looking at the numbers, you get the feeling of what is the scalability of business. Okay. So let's reflect. So HDFC started in 1995, scaled their profits. They made profits from 20 billion to 20 million to 30,000 million. So so they made almost um, 20 times. Yeah. So so how can a company, a business model, now go back to your business model framework? Look at this business model. This is HDFC, this is Coveri, and this is Google. Okay. A business model, it's the same business model of HDFC, started in 1995, went from 20 million to 30,000 million profit in last 15 years, roughly 15 years. How do you think this business has done this? This business had made such profit. How do you think they would have done this? Yeah, go ahead.
It depends on the customers, the amount of people they have coming to their bank or hospital.
Yeah, exactly. So let's look at HDFC here. So let's look at the business model. So you remember the basic formula of profit, right? So this is revenues, this is costs. So profit P equal to R minus C. So this is profit equal to revenues minus costs. So they increase the profits from 20 million to 20 million to 30,000 million. So how could you increase this variable from 20 to 30,000 million without impacting these two variables, right? So you need to increase this revenue, then only it would increase. So how would you increase the revenue? Where does the revenue come? Revenue comes from the customer, if you remember the business model. So this is customer, right? So they have increased the revenue, and of course, along with the revenue, they probably also increase the costs, right? So they also increase the costs, but overall net profit equal to revenue minus cost, still they made 30,000 million DKK in 2020. So you look at the business model of the company, and this business model of the company been grown, scaled, or uh, from 20 million to 30,000. So what does HDFC has done to do this? When in 1995, when they started, um, they had only one branch in Bombay. It's a bank. So I guess you understand what does bank do, right? Bank basically lend money to the people. It's they lend it to businesses. They lend it to end customers, end users like us for cars, housing loans, credit cards, etc. Personal loans also there. So they also lend it to business, and they also do um, other they also do merchant POS device. When you go to shop or when you use your debit card in India, 60% of the missions you use are owned by HDFC. It's called a point of sale when you go. But in any way, in simple term, 99 from 1995 to 2020, they increased the number of branches from one to almost 5,600 branches. Do you follow me? So they had
That's
one.
a lot.
Oh,
Exactly. So this drove their revenues. So how did they scaled up the business? They scaled up the business from one branch to 5,600 branch. Almost all the major cities now in India have HDFC Bank branches. They also have a non-core, non-branch facilities. In village, there will be a broker who are doing the HDFC Bank transaction. They are five, also around 5,600 um, uh, people in each village. So it's not a proper branch, but it can still provide the services of HDFC Bank using mobiles, tablets. But my point is, this business, so-called HDFC Bank, scaled from one branch to 5,600 branches. In the process, they increased their profit from 20 million to 30,000 million. So that's the beauty of scaling business. And the reason why HDFC able to do this is because the HDFC banking business is dependent on IT. So they were scaling up the IT, information technology. So they were building banking software. So they were giving more online banking. So if you have a software, putting that software in one branch or putting it in 5,600 branches, the cost of putting this same software in multiples of 5,600 is very less. Okay, so you could copy the same branch software to multiple branches easily. So now let's look at Cauvery Hospitals. Okay, so Cauvery Hospitals is into the business of hospitals. So they provide services to patients, so who are struggling with health issues, And the founder is a well-known doctor. He was a very good doctor, and then he started this business. Okay, so in 1995 to 2020. So in 1995, when they started, they had 200 beds. In hospital world, in bank world, you look at the bank business using branches. How many branches it has? Because through the branches they get the business. Now we also have online channels. So if you look at you remember the business model framework, right? So this is the channels. If you remember, this is channels. One of the channel is branch. You can have business from branches. Another channel is online. You can go to hdfc.com and buy the services online. Okay, so this is the two channels how HDFC was getting the customers. Okay, look at this hospital, Koveri Hospital. They started with 200 beds and now they have 2000 beds. Okay, and they had a revenue of 2 million. Now they have revenue of 200 million. Can anybody tell me what is the challenge for Koveri business model to scale up? What is this challenge? Why can't they become like HDFC? Why did not able to they grow their bets or profits like HDFC?
Because this hospital industry they has to do business only at one physical location.
Exactly. That's one thing, and the resources are very expert resources. You can't just put a software and then software, does the surgeries and treat the patients, right? You need a MD, very skilled people to do this. You can't just scale up your business. You need MD or MBBS,
Yeah.
and you need high skilled doctors to serve the number of beds. If you don't have the doctors, you can't serve the number of beds because each bed required certain number of doctors. Whereas in case of HDFC, I have a software, I have a banking software. Bank software does not require any, I mean, once you develop it, it doesn't care if it is serving one customer or 1 million customer. It doesn't get tired. It can work 24 by 7. It don't have leaves. It don't have vacation. Software works 24 by 7. Whereas doctor, he has a family. First thing is finding a doctor is very difficult. If we find a doctor, he has to like the place where I have a hospital. This is in Coimbatore in Tamil Nadu. And on top of it, these guys have a personal life. They take vacations. They go. They also get sick. So you can't scale up as simply as HDFC Bank because for simple reasons, you need expert skills to maintain the hospital. Okay, so that's there are multiple reasons, as Naveen mentioned. The physical location is a constraint. Every time when I have to build a hospital, I have to build a very big building, and it does not end there. I need building. I need equipment. If you go to hospital, it required a very costly equipment, X-ray machine, CT scan machine, all this equipment that in hospital they use. It requires a lot of money. Okay, so and the next thing is, um, in general in this business of hospitals, it won't grow, right? You don't expect your people get sick and they all come as a customers to you. So the people also get better once they educated well. They get better. They do prevention rather than going to a hospital. So over the time, this hospital business won't. I mean, it can grow, but it won't grow as bank business. So the reason I am explaining these two businesses is to for you to understand how businesses scale. So you can't see all the businesses in one view. You have to look at the here. I'm giving example of Google, HDFC, and Cauvery hospitals, how they were able to scale their businesses over the time. Okay, now let's look at Google. So Google, we are taking from 2020, right? So this is Google, and in 2020 they had 200 million. So if it is 200 million, 1.2 billion to 540 billion, 1 point, was it 1.5 or 2? 1.2. So 1 point billion to 560 billion. If you remember the Google business model, what is the value proposition they are giving? They are giving search. And this search algorithm or the program, once you have written, this can be scaled as many as you want. So basically, when Google started, it was only used within US universities. So there were about 200,000 people, customers who are using customers or users, whatever you can call. Only 200,000 people used to use Google when it started in 1998. Okay, by the 2000, whole US population was using. So around 20 million people were using. You know how much users they are using today? Google service. So what is the total Earth population?
7 billion, 8 billion something.
7.5
7
billion. Yeah. So around this, right? It's changing all the time. 7.5. Let's take 7.5. So as on 2020, 2 billion of people are using Google search. Okay. Does this search is nothing but a simple program running on Google servers. Does it get tired of serving 2 billion? Does it take vacation? Does it
No,
get sick?
no.
No. So that's the beauty of this scalability of some businesses. That's the reason you see them in the profits, right? So they've grown from 1.2 billion to 560 billion. It's because of the search algorithm they invented, and it marginally need any. Literally, they have 70 to 80% profit. So every dollar they make, 70 cents it goes into profit, because the search algorithm does not require any cost. It just required a bunch of servers, and the people who are writing the algorithms, they are being paid as a salary. You know, the IITs, Stanford, MIT, computer science guys being hired by Google. What does Google do with them? They ask them to make the search algorithm better, and they pay them by salary. So
Can
even if
Google
they,
do it themselves?
yeah, Google is nothing but employees, right? It's not just see, it started with two founders. So two founders can't manage this anymore. So they hired people to do this for them. So it's Google doing it, but founders who are making profit. Still, Larry Page, the two founders we talked last week, they
Why
still
is
own.
Larry Page is mostly famous for only famous for Google, right? Then yeah, Larry Page and what's the other
Sergey
guy's name?
Brin.
Brian.
Zachary Brain, yeah.
Yeah. Most people only know Larry Page. They don't really know why is Larry Page so famous and uh Brian Surgery Brian not so famous.
Larry Page was the senior in the college when they founded, and Larry Page has an attitude where he was the face of the Google company. Surgery Brain is a very talented guy, but he don't have a communication skills. When he go to people, if you ask a dumb question, he would look at you. Don't you know these simple things? So this is because of his way of upbringing, right? So
Arrogance.
you can't call that, but it's a kind of, some people very good of explaining things to the common man. So that way Larry Page was really good. So that's the reason he was the CEO of the company. Whereas Sergey Brin, he's very good with his talent skills, but he is not good with the people. So that's the reason he was not a face of the company Google. So that's the reason you never heard of him comparing to Larry, because Larry is very good of facing people and explain. But the point is, Google founders still owned 30% each. So they hired people and they made the Google algorithm better. But the good beauty of Google business model is it's a simple program serving customers, and then they made the profits, humongous profits, as you see, from 1.2 billion to 560 billion. So this is how you should look at the business models. Is this business scalable? So in case of Google, even in case of HDFC, so now let's look at three businesses, right? So this HDFC, if bank, if you want to scale it up, you need to open new branch, and even new branch costs you 1 million to 0.3 million, so 30 lakhs to 1 crore. So it costs 1 million DKK to open new branch. Okay. Whereas Google, in order to open their service to, let's say, Australia or India or Mexico, they don't need any, literally, they don't have much cost except they register the domain name google.in, or and then they do some server spin up, and then they have a service running whole country. Whereas Cauvery Hospital, if you want to start a new hospital, every bed costs them at least 1 million. Every bed that they build, including equipment, it costs 1 million DKK. And it's also not scalable because of the resources. You need experts, doctors. Would you go to a doctor? Of course, robots are going to dominate in this field in the future, but now it's all humans, and all the humans. Then you go to the specialist doctor. You don't go to even simple MBBS, right? Because you want your doctor to be very skilled. So that's a challenge for Cauvery Hospital to get the resources. So this is how you should look at the business models. Don't treat all the business like you don't treat all the cars the same, right? When you look at Maruti Suzuki, when you look at BMW, when you look at Toyota, you look at Tesla, when you look at Mercedes Benz and Volvo, you look at those cars with a different view and different. Same way, not all the business models are same. Some business models have a beauty of scalability as an investor. So now let's imagine we are here. Why are we studying about all this? Or we are investor or the business owner. If you want to start your own business, would you go into Cauvery Hospitals, or would you go into HDFC Bank, or would you try to start a company like Google? Right? That's a question you should ask yourself. Again, it depends on your skills, right? If you have studied all your life, become a doctor, you can't start Google, right? That's also another thing. So you would probably end up doing hospital. And so as an investor or a business owner, we are here, we are looking at the three businesses. For example, if I'm an investor, I worked for my salary, I saved money, and then I want to invest that money. So if you have been given option of investing in Google versus HDFC Bank and versus Cauvery Hospitals, which one would you choose? So the business models framework would help you to answer these questions. When you are investing, or if you are starting your own business, you can be a startup company in the future, right? You want to start your own business or your own company. That time you should able to look at the scalability of the business model.
So the
And
reason
then,
that we're learning these business models right now
yeah,
is so in future, if one of us make some company, then we like know like the basics.
Yes, that's one angle. If you remember these four coordinates, so we have business, investor, self-employed, or employee. You need to know business model for all these four areas where you would be going in the future. If you are working for a company, you can, if you are an employee, without understanding their business model, you will not able to give add value to the company. You can't become a very good employee until you understand the business model. Same as a self-employed, business owner, or investor. So the reason I am teaching you this is I want to, as a financial education, I'm going to show you how to do investments and how to start your own business. So this is the reason I am teaching you the business model framework. Okay, so let's look at hey, Hari uncle, how did you got all this information? You know, I was been telling all these stories for HDFC Bank, Koveri Hospitals, and Google. Where did I got this information? Can I do this for same other companies? Yes, this information I got it from the annual reports. You could also start reading annual reports. So I just read the annual reports of HDFC, HDFC Bank, Google, and Koveri Hospital. I read the annual report of all these three businesses since they started. So from 1994 to 2000, and Google annual reports are available from 2006, but they provided the data from they founded, and Koveri Hospital available from 1994. So let me quickly show you how you could read the annual report so you understand. So let me show you here. So this is a HDFC Bank annual report. So if you see, it has 20 pages. Can you see?
Yes.
It shows here page numbers, 20 pages, 1 by 20. And this is annual report of 1994 and 1995. Okay, so this is how their logo used to look back then, but now it's totally different logo. Uh, and you can understand how they are doing business. So I use Apple Pencil, iPad, and PDF. And then I use this app called, can you see this app with the pencil mentioned here? It's called Notability. I use this app to read the annual reports. You could also do it if you are interested. So
Last a few lessons ago, then you said that you could just search up, for example, like Amazon annual report.
yes, I also read annual reports of Amazon. I can show you the Amazon also, but in general,
It shows how to do it on Google
yeah,
or Safari.
yes. But the problem with that one is you can't do notes. I'm doing notes as I'm reading it, right? So if you see here, I made a lot of notes. As you see, I'm trying to understand how they made money. So you can't make that on the Chrome or Safari browser. You need to get them as a PDF, and then you have to convert. So if you see, this is 95. So this is the profit, and likewise you can read. See, this is their yeah. So they borrowed 40 crores, and then so and so. So this is how you can build a knowledge about any business which you want to learn. And and I also where was the Koveri Medical Hospital? Yeah, this is the Koveri Hospital annual report. So you could read the report and try to understand how they made. As you see, this is the profit per year. This is in lakhs. So if it is in lakhs, it's 2.1 crore, and this is 1.2 crore. Okay, so this is just for you to understand how one can read annual report and get all the understanding of how businesses are how the business model of given company is working and how this business models are scalable. So this
Is the
is
Kovai hospital in Tamil Nadu the biggest hospital in India?
it's one of the biggest hospital that is listed in India. So I would also this is the screener website. You could also look at it. So you can search, go to screener.in. This has all the Indian companies. So let's look at
Viru Tata.
Koveri Medical Center. So this gives you, so this gives a lot of numbers. We will talk about accounting. Don't get scared of these numbers. But here, when you open, you can see all the peers. What are the other companies which are working as a Koveri Medical? You know, you have Apollo Hospitals, you have Narayana, Hrudayalam. These are the other big hospitals comparing to Koveri. So, and by the way, you could also get the numbers from here. The problem with this one is you have only up to 2009. Can you see here? Maybe it's too small for you. So it's up to only 2009. So I want to 1994. I can't get it from here, so I have to go back.
Why do they only do it in March? Like,
Yeah,
why don't they
because
do it in the beginning of the year?
yeah, that's
At the end.
financial year in India. So we have a financial year starting in 1st of April, ends in uh, March,
30,
April to March.
30, 31st March.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in India, all the companies, they close their books, they close their accounting in the March. Every country has different financial year. In US, they do January to December, but in
Yeah,
India,
that
we
makes sense more.
yeah,
Because that's
yeah,
the end of the year.
end of the year. Yes, that's correct. And you could do the same for maybe I can. Maybe this is better, right, for you. Can you see it now? So if you go to HDFC Bank, I can go and see all the other banks comparing to HDFC Bank. And also this is quarterly results. So this is quarter means every 3 months. We have 4 quarters in a year. So we get, June, September, December, March. June, September, December, March. So you see 4 quarters. And this is annual profits and loss statement. This is annual. And if you see the net profit, can you see the net profit here? This is
Yeah.
revenue minus
Yeah.
cost, and the net profit is 30,000 crores. This is in crores. You can simply assume each crore is a million Danish krone, Danish million. So it's from 2,200 million Danish krone net profit from 2009 to 20 2021. It would be finishing soon, right? We are on 21st of March. In 9 days, they are closing the year in India for the business. So in end of 31st March, they are going to make around 30,000 million Danish krone as a profit.
Is screener only for Indian companies?
Yes, I would show something for other countries, but I just want to. So let's look at. So this is across the globe companies. So if I want to know Google, so it searches. Google is Alphabet, right? So that's the company. And you could also look at all the, if you go to financials, that's the numbers. And here you can see the numbers for Google. And let's look at the profit for them. Oh, wow. They spent 27 billion for the R&D. You can see here. They spent 24 billion for R&D. The gross profit margin is, yeah. See, this is the 97 billion profit margin they've been making, and the R&D spend. Look at the R&D spend. 26 billion, 21 billion, 16
Oh, is
billion.
R&D spent, like, for example, like profits for the company? Not profits, but like if you make a shop, then you have to pay to make like a small shop.
Expenses,
Yeah, it's
Expenses, yeah,
expensive. Yeah, yeah. Okay.
liabilities.
Yeah, R&D is something you are coming up with a driverless car. That's your R&D, research and development. You don't know whether your driverless car going to make a money in the future, but you have to spend making it better before it makes money, right? So that's sorry, I just realized the net income of Google is 40 billion, not 90 billion. So as you see here, it's 40 billion. So the gross profit is 90 billion. So there is a difference between gross profit and net profit. Gross profit is before your other expenses, as you see here. Then if you add other expenses, your employee salaries, R&D spending, so they made a net profit of 90 billion, sorry, 40 billion here. So so this is how you could look at global companies. Here you could also find HDFC Bank if you want. So screener is only for Indian companies, but this one is for all the companies in the world. You can literally look at any company in the world and try to understand. But anyway, I just want to conclude here so that you understand the scalability of the business models. As you remember how Google can scale up very fast comparing to HDFC, and how HDFC can scale up very fast comparing to Coveri hospitals. By the way, nothing wrong with those business models. It just you know, do you have anything wrong with Maruti Suzuki Swift car comparing to BMW? Nothing wrong if you look at from pure going from one place to another place. But if you want features, if you want to show that you are running a brand car and all those things, then you have a different feeling. So business models, nothing wrong, but as an investor, we want to invest in a businesses that scales up, right? So, and that makes a good amount of money for us in the process. That's the goal as an investor, right? As a business owner, if you want to start a business, you want to start a business that can scale globally. Sitting in Denmark, you would get revenues like Google. Sitting in California, they are getting revenue from Africa, Australia, New Zealand, Switzerland. So that's a scalability beauty. Coveri hospitals you can't start in US. It's not that easy to start Coveri hospitals in US. Even HDFC Bank, they can't start a bank business in any other countries because it's so difficult. There are already existing banks. They don't allow. They can't open in Denmark. We have Danske Bank, we have Nordea Bank, we have a lot of other banks, so they won't survive in this existing banks. But Google, they can open anywhere because there literally no competition, and it's a unique product in that sense, right? So that's also how you should look at it. Any questions before we jump into next topic?
But maybe also the Kobe hospital can also make a website or something, right? Maybe they can put like ads and stuff.
Yeah, the problem with Kobe Hospital is they are into hospital services. They have telemedicine, so they can serve customers remotely via web, but it has its own limitations. If you want to look at the patient who is sitting somewhere in a near remote village, you can
Huh?
see his you can ask him questions. Are you feeling temperature? Are you feeling sick? Where are you getting pain? But you need reports on his body before you can diagnose him. That is not possible with a
If
remote.
somebody wants to make a company, then like Larry Page made a company, right?
Yeah.
Like he founded Google, but then like when how do you do it? Did he make like a website or did he first made a website, right?
Yeah, they started with google.com, and then yeah.
So then how did they evolved it in time, right? Because
Yes.
first it was a small website, but then after that they made it a search engine.
No, when they started, it was a search engine already. So when they launched google.com,
Yeah, that's the
they
thing. They code it, right?
yeah, exactly.
Well, what program did they use?
Initially, they used C++, for their
Yeah,
searching algorithm. That's a programming language of computers. And now mostly they evolved. They are using Python. They are using
HTML.
HTML is only for the front page, but in the
Oh
back
yeah,
end,
the websites, right?
yeah, front page, whatever look and feel you see here, this is written in HTML or PHP or any other languages. So if you go to here, view page source, you can look at the source code of the page. You see this is HTML.
Oh, how do you check the back end then? Like,
You can't. That's a secret sauce, right?
yeah, it's because they make it so we can't see it. We only
Exactly.
see the front end, right?
Yeah, they want to see show you whatever you are supposed to see. There everything else is secret. Otherwise, Microsoft could easily copy, right? Their competitors can easily copy.
Yeah. Ah, okay.
And Google came up with a new programming language. These days they are using G, programming G. So they also invented their own programming languages because they felt the existing programming languages have limitations. So they built the Python, also born from Google. One of the Google founder, Google team member started Python, and now G is another programming language. So they also invented a lot of things in the process because of the challenge they have with the amount of data they need to handle with. Okay, so we looked at the business models and we looked at the annual reports, how you could and then you want to know where can I get the annual reports. I think I showed you last time. You just search with an in Google or Amazon annual reports. You will get it.
I just like the difference between C++ and C sharp. C It said that the
Sorry, I
difference
can't
is
hear.
it's because you said that they use C++ too
Yeah.
back then, right? Then I also knew something called C sharp. So then I picked up the difference one between them, and it says C++ is the low level programming language, and C sharp is a high level language.
No, both C++, C Sharp are high level languages. They are not low level language. It's C is the functional language. You have to write everything as a function. C++ is object oriented language. You write everything as objects. C Sharp is a better version of C++ because they realized over the time C++.
So
Yeah.
why does C++ still exist then?
It's like you're asking like you have four tools to fix your bike. Why would you still have the old tool when you have the new tool? Some of them, some C++ is quite good when you are doing engineering problems, when you are doing some kind of um, Bose speakers, all the speakers that you have at home. many of those speakers algorithms are written in C++ because it's so good to write low level hardware programs on C++. C sharp is more of high level enterprise applications. So every programming language has its own advantages and disadvantages. I think we can talk about programming languages in one session, but yeah, that's totally different. Uh,
Programming has nothing to do with.
yeah, exactly. Investing is totally different, but yeah, we could. So Amazon is yeah, you can read annual reports of Amazon. I just searched in Google. You can get it all the annual reports since they founded 1998. So if you are so crazy about Amazon, just start reading every day 20 minutes. In 10 days, 20 days, you will read all the annual reports. Then you get.
But didn't you say that each one is very, very long?
Yeah, and US annual reports are short comparing to Indian annual reports. For example, if you see this is 48 page, but I don't need to read all the pages. I just read the management analysis that gives me the overview of what business is doing for a given year. If you see here, first 4 or 5 pages is good enough for you to understand how Amazon is done. Yeah, up to page 10. Then everything else you could just ignore. These numbers you haven't learned yet, so you don't need to go to numbers. So that's what I'm going to teach coming sessions. We will talk about accounting. But yeah, any questions? I just want to show you one video of Warren Buffett regarding accounting. How important is the accounting? So let's listen to this video and then we can close.
The most valuable was
Can you hear?
Yeah.
Yeah.
accounting, and we had a wonderful professor named Ray Dean. There may even be something named for him down here, isn't there? Yeah, I mean, he was, I'd been to the Wharton School, I went to Columbia Graduate School subsequently, and I took a lot of accounting courses, but by far the best instruction I received in accounting came from Ray Dean, and there's nothing more important. People ask me what they should take in business school, or even if they don't go to business school, what they need to know before getting in business. And I tell them, you have to understand accounting. It's the language. I mean, it's like being in a foreign country without knowing the language if you're in business and you don't understand accounting. So
You understand what he was saying. Accounting is so important, so fundamental. It's a kind of language of business. So he also gave an example of you are in a foreign country without understanding their language. How would you feel? Similarly, in business world, if you don't know accounting, you would not understand anything. So that's so fundamental to learn accounting.
you want to get as comfortable with that as you are with the English language. It's made me a lot of money because I listened to what Ray Dean had to say 53 or 4 years ago, and been able to understand what I was seeing on pieces of paper, what that told me about businesses, and the limitations of what it told me about businesses. That's the way we invest. Yesterday, I was in Knoxville, Tennessee, and we bought a company. We agreed to buy a company called Clayton Homes about a week ago. It's a big company in the manufactured home business. We agreed to pay $1.7 billion for it. I made that deal over the phone without ever meeting the people there, but I had seen enough through reading 10Ks, 10Qs, annual reports, but looking at figures, what they tell me in terms of the kind of people even running the place, the kind of.
So now he went into another track where he was saying how he made a decision of purchasing a business.
He bought a business. He only knew that was a good price because he read a lot of.
To know your voice is too low. You're far away.
He was explaining that he bought a company for 1.7 billion, and he would have only known that that was a big enough, like good enough price if he read annual reports.
Yeah, exactly. And also the numbers. Numbers gives you a lot of information. So let's go through this from next week. I would try to explain you how you can say a given business is a good business or bad business by looking at the numbers. If you see the screener here, this is the website and it talking about HDFC Bank. All that you see is the numbers, nothing else. Do you see here? These are numbers. So let's look at the stories behind each number to understand how HDFC Bank is doing. So accounting is basically is numbers put into some order in order to understand. It's like anything else, right? If you want to see if the person is healthy or not, you will check his weight, you will check his height, you will check his blood pressure, you will check his fat percentage, you will check his sugar levels, you check his heartbeat, his pulse rate. All these are numbers end of the day that gives you, and that numbers has a perspective. So we need to look at and understand those numbers. So in order to understand those numbers, we have a field called accounting. So that's what we are getting in from next week. So we will try to use this tool called accounting to understand whether a business is good or bad. Why do we need to understand whether business good or bad? Why do we need to understand that?
Because if you buy it for a high price and it's not good, then later if you want to sell the company and other companies or other people know that it's bad, then you won't buy it. Then people won't buy it, and it's basically loss of money.
Exactly. So you want to invest in a business that is doing really good. Only way you say it's really doing good by looking at the business models and the numbers behind it. So numbers are very fundamental to analyze the business. Hence, we need to go into accounting and then we will understand this accounting sessions. I guess it would go for 3 to 4, 5 weeks. But basic arithmetics, if you know divisions, percentages, multiplications, we are good enough to deal with this area.
It's a
Okay.
basically, and then it's not possible for an investor to be good at investing if he doesn't read it all.
Yeah, you need to be a very good reader, voracious reader, and you should also need to know accounting. Then only
I
you will be.
understand it.
Yeah. Okay. I wish you a good weekend and let's talk again next week.
Okay, see you. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Hari. Bye.
Bye.